Welcome to another edition of Morton College Coach's Corner. I'm your host, Simon Steiner. Today we're joined by men's and women's wrestling head coach here at Morton College, Mr. Chris Butz. Chris, welcome to the corner.
Thanks for having me, Simon. I appreciate it.
I wanted to start off by asking you about some of your history. Where have you wrestled and what kind of accolades have you received?
Yeah, so I wrestled at Fenton High School in Bensenville, Illinois. I wrestled for Brian Hastings. Coming out of high school, I was a state qualifier my junior year and then suffered an injury my senior year. And coming out of high school, I was really hoping to either wrestle or play football, and unfortunately, money works out in special ways. So I ended up going to North Park University and playing football there, but I had the itch, and I missed being around the sport, and my sophomore year of college, I started getting into coaching. So I was coaching at Fenton High School. I got into coaching some of the women's wrestling as well. So since 2013, I've been coaching wrestling. So I've coached at Fenton High School. I've coached in Indiana. I moved back here, coached at Foreman High School, one of our Chicago public schools. And then most recently, I was at Eisenhower Junior High, and I was coaching over at North Park University. And then from there, I heard about this and took advantage of the opportunity.
Since taking the reins of Morton College Wrestling, you've more than tripled the roster from 7 to 22, and you've started up a women's wrestling program as well. What would you say the key to recruiting here at Morton College would be?
Definitely it was showing our athletes that I care. You know, that's probably the biggest thing. That's the first thing I try to do to establish that rapport with our athletes, is showing that I'm invested in the school, I'm invested in being here as our coach. But the smaller pieces is being there. A lot of the athletes, when we were out in recruiting, they don't have people supporting them. So that is by far the biggest thing, and that sold a lot of our incoming athletes, was that we were constantly there. It wasn't we showed up one time and then, you know, we'll see you later. It was we constantly stayed in contact. We supported them all the way through the state series, both the men and the women. With the women's program, it was kind of a little bit late, but knowing that was kind of on the precipice, I was getting out there talking to coaches, letting them know that it was very much a possibility.
What kinds of team goals have you set for this year?
We have goals and expectations that we show the recruits when we come in. It's part of being on our squad that really defines who we are. So it's our goals are, you know, getting our degree, being a great teammate, and constantly trying to score. You know, but when we look at that goal, we try to elaborate. You know, obviously scoring in wrestling, it's pretty obvious, but then we're trying to always score. We're always trying to get those points outside of life, outside of classroom.
Just to mark the history, who are the two ladies that you're going to have this year?
So our first commit was Evelyn Simon. She's from Hoffman Estates. And then our second commit was Maria Diaz. She wrestled at Oak Park River Forest.
So the last question I'm going to ask you is maybe the most important one. Why would somebody want to come wrestle for Chris Butz?
Why anyone would want to come and wrestle for me is that they're going to get the most out of me. I'm going to be dedicated to them. I can't expect, especially in a sport of wrestling, for our guys and our girls to give their all on the mat, in the classroom, outside of the classroom, if I'm not going to do the same. So definitely that would be the number one thing, is that I'm going to put all my effort into not only their wrestling, but their academics and their personal life.
Thanks, Coach Butz, for spending a few minutes with us in the corner today. If you'd like to know more about Coach Chris Butz, or about Panther men's or women's wrestling, or about Morton College athletics in general, be sure to stop by www.gomcpanthers.com. Thanks for spending a few minutes in our corner.